When I traced where these bucket strategy explanations were coming from, I noticed something. Most people talk about buckets like it's a vibe. Have cash, have bonds, have stocks. That's not a strategy. That's just nouns. A real bucket strategy is rules. It's timing. It's refilling. It's what you do when markets drop and your emotions start negotiating with your plan. And I think you deserve the full story. So here it is. I'm recording this video right now because this topic is quietly costing retirees real money. Comment where you're watching from so I can see how far these videos travel. And real quick, if you value calm numbers first retirement breakdowns like this, do me a favor, subscribe and comment Retirement Risk Watch so the algorithm knows you want more of this. Now, in case you haven't seen what I'm talking about, here's the claim making the rounds. Just keep 2 years cash. Just do a bucket strategy. It removes risk. You'll never have to worry. And on the surface, it sounds airtight. But when you slow it down piece by piece, and you look at refill rules, taxes, and spending behavior, you realize the reality is more nuanced. That's clean. It's also incomplete. So I'm going to break down 3 things. First, what the 3-bucket strategy actually is in plain English. Second, the 2 ways people mess it up and still end up stressed. And third, the exact action plan, how to size the buckets and how to refill them without market timing. So, let's start with what we can verify. Retirement is not one big pile of money. Retirement is time. You're not managing dollars. You're managing when you'll need the dollars. Here's the clean way to think about the 3-bucket strategy. Bucket 1 is now money, spending money for the near term. Bucket 2 is soon money, money for the next chunk of years. Bucket 3 is later money, money for the long horizon. It's a 3-pan kitchen. You don't cook everything in the same pan at the same heat. You separate the job. The goal isn't to beat the market. The goal is to stop the market from controlling your mood and your withdrawals. Here's a question for you. What stresses you more in retirement? Seeing your balance drop or being forced to sell in a down market to pay bills? Comment balance or forced selling. Because buckets are mainly about preventing forced selling. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. The bucket strategy only works if you have refill rules. Otherwise, it becomes cash hoarding, and then inflation eats you, or you never rebalance, or you spend the safe bucket and never rebuild it. So let's talk about the 2 most common bucket failures. Failure 1. The buckets are just labels, not rules. People say I have a cash bucket, but they don't know how many months it covers, they don't know what triggers refills, and they don't know what gets cut in a downturn. So in a crash, they still panic because there's no system. Failure 2. The cash bucket is so big, it becomes a slow leak. Yes, you want safety. But if you park too much for too long, inflation becomes your quiet enemy. The bucket strategy isn't cash forever. It's cash for time. So what does this actually mean for you? It means you size the buckets based on your life, not based on a random meme. Now, here's a simple action plan. No drama. Step 1. Calculate your essential monthly spending. Multiply by 12. That's 1 year of essentials. Step 2. Decide your now bucket target. Many retirees choose something like 12 to 24 months of essentials, depending on other income sources and temperament. Keep it sane. Step 3. Decide what assets live in soon and later buckets based on their job. Soon is about stability and bridging time. Later is about growth and inflation protection. Write it down. Decide X first, then Y. Now let's talk about refilling. Because refilling is the whole game. Here's the clean way to think about refilling. You refill buckets in good weather, not in storms. When markets have a strong year, you rebalance and move some gains into the now bucket until it's back at target. That way, the next storm doesn't force you to sell the growth bucket. This is not market timing. This is maintenance. It's like keeping your car's gas tank above a certain level so you're not stranded. You're not predicting traffic, you're preventing emergencies. Now, the skeptical alternative, but what if markets are down for years? That's plausible. Here's how it can fail. If you have a tiny now bucket and rigid spending, a long downturn can drain the runway and force selling anyway. That's why buckets must be paired with thermostat spending. You need a plan to cut optional spending before you start cutting the plan's foundation. So add this to the bucket strategy, a spending thermostat. Essentials stay stable. Optional spending adjusts with conditions. Now, let's map 3 plausible paths without pretending we can predict the exact market. Path 1. Normal cycles. In this world, the bucket system keeps you calm. You spend from now, refill after good years, and the machine runs smoothly. Path 2. Sharp crash early in retirement. In this world, the now bucket prevents forced selling and gives you time. Thermostat spending reduces the drain. You survive without panic. Optional path 3. High inflation for a while. In this world, the later bucket matters because it fights inflation. If you go too heavy cash, you feel safe, but you lose purchasing power. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. The bucket strategy doesn't remove risk. It moves risk into a form you can manage. It turns market risk into planning risk. You still have to make decisions. The difference is you make them with rules instead of adrenaline. Here are the rules I use, and you can steal them. 1. Decide your maximum withdrawal guardrail first. Write it down. If you're losing sleep, you're pulling too hard or you're invested too aggressive. 2. When markets run hard and you're up a lot, refill your cash runway. Not forever, just enough to buy you time. 3. Don't confuse income with safety. A high yield is not a safety guarantee. 4. The best time to make a retirement decision isn't when you're scared or hyped. It's when you can still breathe and do the math. So here's what we covered. Buckets are about time, not vibes. Buckets fail when there are no refill rules or when cash becomes a slow leak. A real bucket strategy is size the runway, choose soon versus later jobs, refill in good years, and use thermostat spending in bad years. Now, here are my questions for you. First, how many months of essentials would make you feel calm? 12, 18, 24, or more? Comment your number. Second, do you want a bucket strategy because you hate volatility or because you want a clear system? Comment hate volatility or want system. If you got value out of this, subscribe and comment Retirement Risk Watch so I know you want to follow up when the next update hits. And if this helped you, share it with someone who's trying to retire without making expensive mistakes. All right, take care of yourself, stay sharp, and I'll talk to you soon. And just so we're crystal clear, this is educational content and commentary. It's my take based on publicly discussed information and my own reasoning, and it's not personal financial advice. I'm not your advisor. I don't know your goals or your risk tolerance, and I could be wrong. Do your own homework. Consider your situation, and if you need personal advice, get it from a qualified professional who knows your situation.